Hey, what's up, gamers, and welcome to the wonderful world of Going Medieval here on the Bears and Beans channel. That is right, I'm coming to you on this quick little video to announce the big, beautiful things that have just dropped in update number 12. They have dubbed it the Prisoners and Gates update. So, before we dive fully into the description for the prisoners, we're going to handle a little gate side real quick. So, one of the new big things that they added is you go here to research, and you go, as you guys might see, beautiful bare chester here in the background. You go to Defensive Structures 3. That is a new thing they've added. It drops the tall gate and the ornate tall gate. Then you head over here to Defensive Structures 4, and it adds the Feast de la Resistance, the portcullis. I love it. Love it, love it. That is true medieval style right there. So we've got those two big, beautiful things. So they're going to be constructible down here. Let's actually find them real quick. Oh, and we've got the gallows, which that'll get us to our prisoner thing here in a minute. Yes, prisoner stash, prisoner cell mark. Worry about those in a moment. I'm assuming construction. Ah, here we go. Gates. And tall gates. So we've got gates and ornate gates, tall gates, and ornate tall gates. They are 2. 2, 2, 2. That is how tall they are. So it is 2 blocks tall. See? Takes 2. Right, we could even slap one in right there if we wanted to. And then you've got the big, the beautiful, the portcullis. So this is a pre-done function. We could totally slap one in right there. That's kind of wild. But those are the new buildable features, if you will, under the gates category. Now, my favorite part, the big thing that I personally have been waiting so much for, and that is the prisoners. So the new major update titled Prisoners and Gates, as I said, is now live on Steam, Epic Games, all that jazz. Go check it out. Download it if you haven't already. What is wrong with you? Go and do it now. All the fixes and improvements from the experimental branch, if you're into all of that, are now stable and tested and present in this update. The big thing, like I said, prisoner system, gates. They did some building, some layer stuff. They changed some stability issues. That can all, you can go onto the Steam, go onto their little, like, not podcast, their blog thing that they have on there. That'll explain all that for you. If you want to get a full breakdown, you know, all the bug fixes, you know, like they normally do, go check that out. Now, there is one little disclaimer that the devs are letting you know that if you do go to download update number 12, please, please, please disable mods temporarily, or there might be an issue where you get stuck in the title screen. Then there's a whole process of how to go and fix that. So if that ends up happening, I deeply apologize, but the devs already know about it and they have a solution. So go and check that out. That is, I know for sure, on the Steam. It's in that little blog thing I was just talking about. Go and check that out. But prisoners. Prisoners, prisoners, prisoners. So the big thing now, going forward, is that there is a small chance that from time to time, once a raid is done, and you end up victorious, the enemies may surrender. That is right. They will wave that beautiful white flag. Surrendering is influenced by a couple of major factors. Number 1, enemies need to be below 50% to be eligible for surrender. 50% HP, that is. So they need to have, you know, taken a couple hits. They need to be below. Number 2, enemies that are not hurt but are walled off after being defeated will surrender. So that is something to keep in mind. That is something that I, Big Brain, have already thought of. Lure them into a little trap area, have somebody go around back, wall them off, then they're all going to surrender. Boom, now you have a whole bunch of prisoners. All right, number 3. Enemies that are in the Forbidden Zone, that big red trim, I think it's like 15 square, 10, 15 square trim, right? This, if you go to the mine, see, this big bad boy right here, they will not surrender. That is a, you know, pass go, get your $200, go straight, kind of, you know, that's a get the hell out of here token. They won't surrender in that zone. Now, each faction has a surrender chance, but there is later on going to be new factions added that will never surrender. They are going to be full bore attack, attack, attack. So that is something to keep in mind as well. Now, the last and final thing, number 5, if you will, 4 being the faction chance, number 5, the more prisoners and settlers that you have, the lower the overall chances that an enemy will surrender. Right? They don't want to spam the area with too many NPC or AI characters, right? They don't want too much going on. They don't want to crash our systems. I appreciate that. Me running on a lower system, I really, really appreciate that. So they don't want to have too much going on. That's fine. So basically, if after a battle both sides experience losses, but you are victorious, fewer enemies will surrender. The better you are in combat, there is a greater chance for more people willing to surrender. After around 20 settlers or so, prisoners, whatever in total, the chance for surrender starts to decrease. Right? It's not just a rapid drop. It's not exponential. It's just, you know, a slow decline over time once you break that 20 member mark. So to avoid so many people on the map and all the burdens that come, like I said, crashing systems and all that jazz. So when the enemy surrenders, you'll be greeted with a panel where you'll be able to choose who to turn into a prisoner, right? And then once you select them, they will be in a kind of hands-up surrender mode for 6 in-game hours. So you have 6 in-game hours. So like right now up at the top, it says it's 22. Right? So 6 hours later, I mean, you add 6, that's 28. So that'd be, what, 4 a.m.? So when it's 04, that would be my time would expire that I have to go collect this person, essentially. And after that, they're going to escape. They're going to bail. So to turn them into prisoners, you're going to need a Galler, something like that. So that is going to be a new function up here in jobs. Let's get me past my autosave here real quick. Which just slowly kind of letting Bearchester run in the background. Come on. World's longest autosave, I swear. Okay, so right here, Galler, I don't know. I'm probably saying that wrong. I apologize. But this is a new job now. This is going to be the person who's going to go out and round up all the surrendered people, round up all the prisoners, bring them in. Right? So they're going to go out and they're going to grab them. Now, that person, like I said, is a new job, and you have to give it a priority. Essentially, it is the medieval expression for like a jailer. Settlers with this job will do the following things. They're going to escort your prisoners, so they'll move prisoners to their cells, capture them when they are running away, all that jazz. They're going to strip the prisoner, so they're going to take them all their goodies, right? They lose their clothing, their headwear, they're going to lose their weapons. If they have any stockpile, anything in their pockets, chests, anything, it's all going to get taken out. The Galler can also be responsible for releasing prisoners. So if we barter with another faction, hey, you know, we'll give you this guy in exchange for gold, whatever, then the Galler's going to go take that person, take him to the edge of the map and say, hey, hasta la vista, baby, get out of here. And the other thing is shackling, which then there's a whole system around shackles. So we'll get to that here in a moment. But shackles are needed for prisoners to go either into a caravan or to become laborers, which that is the second thing, aside from just prisoners in general, that I am most excited about, is that you're going to get forced labor. Now, when your Galler takes somebody, they need to bring them to a prison cell. So you're going to need to start constructing little prisons, little prison cell spaces. So when captured prisoners, will be taken to prison cells, it needs to be in a spare room status, right? And then you turn it into a cell by adding the prison marker and the prison stash. So we go here, and you get the prison cell marker and then the prisoner stash. Once you put those two things into a spare room, boom, it becomes a prison cell. So prisoners will idle around in there, and they'll basically just hang out. Your Galler person will come and feed them and check on them, talk to them, because the ultimate goal is to either trade them back to their people, right, because they're a hostage kind of situation, or to convert them and have them join your settlement. Now, if you're like me, you also have the darker intentions of creating a cannibal village and then using those people as essentially human cattle. That's another thing. So, hey, rock on if that's the road you choose. Or you can bust out these gallows right here and you can punish them for the war crimes they may have committed during the raid. You can sentence them to death. So they will be introducing an option where you can choose which prisoner goes into which cell. Make it individualized rather than just a blanket, here you go. Right? So, but it's not in the game yet. Right, we'll get there. Now, When you shackle them and you want them to become a laborer or a captive labor, right? Prisoners can be turned into captive laborers by putting shackles on them, and if you have a warden in your settlement. That is going to be the next job that was added. So when you go to a person, say like Mr. Darth here, he doesn't have a role. We already have a bard, we have a chaplain, we have a druid. Oh, wait. Now you can have a prison warden. So the warden oversees captured laborers and converses with prisoners to try and recruit them into your settlement. Then there's different steps, right? You get it all the way up to a level 3. And the big, beautiful... That's that whole thing. So, you need a warden if you want to have laborers. So the gaoler will go and shackle the prisoner. Then the warden will collect the shackled prisoner and lead them to their work camp. Now, the captive laborers can only do a total of 5 different jobs. They can construct, they can mine, they can grow, harvest, and cut plants. These are managed in the overall panel in the prisoners tab. So you'll get a prison tab. Now, captive laborers cannot be turned into settlers. When they go into labor mode, they are strictly laborers. When they go back, you unshackle them and put them back into prisoner mode. That's when you can convert them into villagers. So it's a huge thing to keep in mind. Now, captive laborers will work in 4-hour increments, and they need to speak to the warden in order to initiate that work cycle. After their work is finished, the warden can speak with them again to reinitiate it, but you do need to keep in mind that prisoners will need to eat, they will need to sleep. You know, they're still human. Now, speaking of the warden, like I said, is a new role. It falls right up in there, as we saw with chaplain, druid, bard, but there are a new set of duties. So number 1, having the prison warden role present in your settlement will allow you to turn prisoners into captive laborers or turn them into settlers via the recruitment process. Number 2, warden will recruit prisoners to settlers if the prisoner is marked for a recruitment. The warden will only do this in the role-appointed hours once a day. So same as taming livestock. That's the way I like to think of it, right? The animal handler will go once a day and attempt a tame or a train on an animal, regardless of if it's successful or not. And sorry, I just saw this boar over here. I want them to come and get that. All the predators are going to start freezing, so we got to collect those bodies. Anyway, just like with the animals, right? There's going to be 1 attempt a day kind of a thing. Pass fail doesn't matter until they build up to then hitting recruitment status. Now, the recruitment process is similar, like I said, to the taming training process. The chances of recruitment increase with the mood of the prisoners, so you got to keep them happy if you want to recruit them. Laborers cannot be recruited. I know I've said that before, and I'm going to keep saying it. That is a huge, huge thing. When they're in their 4-hour labor cycle, you cannot go and chat them up and recruit them. They have to be in their prisoner setting. So you will have to unmark them from labor status to put them into the recruitment process for availability. And that's not, like I said, not a guarantee. It just opens them up, like with training animals, where the person can go and make their one daily attempt. Now, if you choose to turn a prisoner that is in the recruitment process into a captive laborer, the recruitment process will stop, and they can slowly decline and lose progress. So say you're like 50% of the way recruiting them, then you decide, I really need to go mine something real quick. You send them out. It could drop to 49, 48, 47. Right. We get the hang of it here. We know how to math. Now, the warden will manage captive laborers by switching their hour type to work type for 4 in-game hours, like we said, by having a conversation. So they initiate it. They tell them what to do. Like, hey, go dig that hole. Right? Turning big rocks into small rocks. So you can also buy and sell prisoners, which is now going to introduce a new merchant type. So a new trader will appear from time to time and will barter prisoners. The big thing to remember here is that this merchant will never enter your settlement. They will always stay in that forbidden zone at the edge of the map, because human trafficking is still frowned upon within your settlement. So just go handle that shit outside of town. Using prisoners to trade will result in no friendliness modifiers, so you can't just give a whole bunch of people and think that, oh, they're going to like me now. Nope, doesn't matter. And you can only buy and sell people using gold coins and gold ingots. And if you try to attack them, they're all just going to bail immediately. They're just going to run. They're not going to fight back. They're all just going to run. So don't think you can go and set them all free. That's not going to work. The second the main guy leaves, they all just despawn. Boop, they're done. That's why they hang out at the edge. And they're really, really quick, too. I've tried it. Now, when it comes to regular trading situations, negotiators will take prisoners of the same faction, right? So if you took a bunch of people from, I don't know, the Mountain Bandits, you can give them back. And then you'll get modifier. It'll work in your favor for whatever their value is. Now, merchants will purchase prisoners of that same faction. Prisoners can be taken via caravan to different settlements, but only of the same faction. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And if you have a prisoner from one faction, you will not be able to improve the relationship with that faction beyond neutral. So the best you can do as long as you have a prisoner is neutral. You can't go into the positive side. I mean, you can just not be negative. That'll help. But you can't go full positive and gain favor as long as you have one of their people captive. Now, you can punish your prisoners. And this, like I said, is the hanging event. It's the new event with the gallows. Everyone gathers around. They sneer, they jeer, they mock the prisoner. And then, bloop, the fat lady sings, right? Let them eat cake. It's done. I know it's not a guillotine, but still, you guys get it. It's done. Now, the gallows, unfortunately, you're not going to want to build them near any nice stuff. Kind of put them out because they do have a -10 modifier for the aesthetics. Settlers that do have like the bloodthirst, a lot of those different perks where they want to see violence, they'll get a buff, a positive buff, weirdly, off of watching a public execution. Opposite's true as well. People will take a negative hit if they don't really like it. And hanging a prisoner results in friendliness modifiers towards the faction of the hanged, as well as modifiers towards the enemy faction of the hanged. So, if you hang a mountain bandit and the Circle of Avalon really hates the mountain bandits, they will look positive on you for helping rid the earth of the mountain bandits. But then the mountain bandits are going to hate you because you killed one of their own. Something to keep in mind. But, ladies and gentlemen, as far as the new update is concerned, that is it. That is it. Hot and dirty, right? Fast. That's the gist of it. If you want to get more in-depth as far as the stuff, head over to Steam, head over to the Epic Game Store, whatever. Read those little blog things that they post about the new update. Like I said, update number 12, Prisoners and Gates. But I just gave it to you fast and dirty. We wanted to make sure that we got all this stuff out of the way. There's the wood gates. We handled all that. We got the tall gates. We got the portcullises. There's the new gallows, the prisoner markers, the stashes. And then there's a warden desk. That helps as well. And then you got shackles. You got to make sure you make those if you want to do anything like that. There are some base quality of life improvements that were made as well. Stuff with like candles and braziers, different events ending and canceling during certain glitch phases and stuff. It's all on there. Go check it out. Go read it. And if you haven't already, please, please, please download and update the game. This is so cool. Like, my entire channel, no joke, is built around this game. I love it so much. You guys come for all of the beauty and wonder of this. So go check it out. Go have fun. Have a blast. Go nuts. Update number 12. Yeah, there's nothing really else to say except for thank you so much for stopping by. And if you do me a huge, huge favor, hit that like button, drop me a comment, let me know how I'm doing, how I'm not doing. And if you haven't already, please smash that subscribe. Join the ever-growing community here at Bears and Beans channel. And if you'd like to further stay in the know, you can head over to Instagram and follow me at Bears and Beans Gaming. I follow all gamers back. And for some additional support for the channel, check the link in the description for my Patreon, or you can become a member here on YouTube. Get access to all kinds of behind-the-scenes stuff, new and upcoming stuff, unedited stuff, early episodes, and you can even have a villager named after you. Like each and every one of these beautiful supporters that are right here in Bearchester. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, like I always say, thank you so much for stopping by. You're amazing, wonderful, beautiful people. I love you all. And I'll see you in the next one.